Well, good afternoon. This is the advertised time and the advertised place for the Thursday, July 18th Planning Board meeting. Welcome, everybody. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no public hearings today, so we're going to get right into discussion items. Number one is Jets 139 LLC Minor Subdivision. If Heather could bring us up to speed on that.
Sure, and we have Mr. Cuddy here for the applicant.
You know, Mr. Cuddy.
Restate your name for the record.
Charles Cuddy, C-U-D-D-Y for the applicant.
Okay, and for the record, Heather Trojanowski, planner for the town of Riverhead. So this is a minor subdivision application. It was originally heard by the board, well, discussed by the board back in December of 2022. It's a 3-lot minor subdivision proposing to subdivide an existing 41.1708 acre parcel and create 3 new individual lots. Lot 1 is going to be 2.233 acres, and it's going to retain an existing single-family dwelling, a barn, and other accessory structures. Lot 2, the large lot on the map, is 33.24 acres, and it is going to be sold to the county as part of the development rights program. Mr. Cuddy can elaborate on that process. Since it's taken quite a while since the board initially reviewed this application. And then lot 3, which fronts on Manor Lane, is going to be 5.6912 acres and will be a developable parcel. So the subject property is located at 5753 Sound Avenue in Jamesport, more particularly identified as Suffolk County tax note number 600-22-2-12. And again, it's a parcel that has frontage on both Manor Lane and Sound Avenue, and it's currently improved with that single-family dwelling and currently engaged in agricultural production. So if the board has any questions, I have a resolution to classify seeker as a type 2 action and get them moving forward with a public hearing, so that's what the resolution that's on the agenda is for today.
I did have one question.
Yeah.
Is the applicant still able to subdivide again later, or is this final? Because
We're not proposing to subdivide. There could come a time
Where
when lot 3 may have another house or 2 on it.
so they'll come in for another subdivision.
Yeah, if they were to come in for one additional lot, it would still be covered under the minor subdivision. But the larger lot, it'll be subject to the deed of development rights and any covenants and restrictions, so there's no development potential. They are closing at the end of the month. I don't know if you have an exact date.
Yeah, no, we're just waiting for the county to tell us they have the money.
Yeah, so we're going to save 33 acres of farmland?
Yes,
That's
but
awesome.
it's good. We hope it's going to be the end of this month, but it will be within the next 4 to 5 weeks.
That's great.
Joe?
I have one question, Charlie. There's a 55-foot right-of-way. Is
Yeah.
it necessary to have that larger?
The county insisted that we did that. We didn't have it that wide.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
for some reason, they say they need to have that to make sure they can access the development rights area.
Yeah, the original map, which was presented to the board back in 2022, it showed a 33-foot wide road, a flag going to lot 2. And at that point, the letter of intent, they wanted to present the lot to the county for proposed preservation. But at that time, from a planning standpoint, if the sale didn't go through or there was no offer accepted, we wanted to see it at a 55-foot wide right-of-way. Actually, our consulting engineer, Vinny Gaudiello, had given us comments, but it appears that this revision is separate from those comments, considering that it's going to be preserved.
But the county insisted on the same thing, so.
Okay.
Heather, what is the easement for? Just,
That's another question that our consulting engineer had, and I did re-refer the revised map to him. I'm waiting on comments to come back, but Mr. Cuddy might be able to clarify.
That's because the homeowner goes across back and forth between this parcel and another parcel that's adjacent to it, and he uses that right of way.
on the easement from the Sound Avenue to the farm?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, that'll have to be, again, clarified prior to moving forward. At this point, we're ready for a public hearing and to classify secra, so it's been sort of a waiting game with the county. I did refer this originally to the Health Department, Planning Commission, consulting engineer. I referred the revised map to both the fire marshal and the Jamesport Fire District. The fire marshal had no comments. I just got a memo from him the other day. I'm waiting to hear back from the Jamesport Fire District, but any other comments that I receive, I'll forward to the board, and we can further discuss at the public hearing, which I have, I think for August 15th, which is the second meeting in August. Any other questions?
Not for me.
Not for me. Good.
Everybody's good? Mr. Cuddy, we'll have a resolution on this afternoon.
We have one more.
What's
Yep.
that?
So we have one more that.
Oh, you're still up? Okay.
So
Yeah.
there.
All right, so we're done with that. We're going to go into discussion item number 2, which is the Manor Lane Minor Subdivision, once again with him.
Okay,
This
yes.
is Jet's one.
Okay, so the application is called Manor Lane, but the map is called Jets 139 LLC. And then the prior application was called Jets 139 Subdivision, but the map is called Manor Lane. I don't know if we want to switch for clarity, but just wanted to make that known. So the application name is Manor Lane Subdivision. The name on the map for this one is Jets 139 LLC. Both parcels are separate and distinct, but they're owned by the same family. So just a little background on this application. It's a minor subdivision application proposing to subdivide 2 existing parcels. So we have one parcel that's 5.037 acres with development rights intact. And then lot 3 on the map is a 19.6721 acre parcel, which is already subject to county development rights and a deed of development rights. The parcel address is 139 Sound Avenue, and the tax map numbers are 600-8-3-7.3, that's the development rights intact parcel, and then 8-3-7.4, which is the development rights sold parcel. I asked Mr. Cutting, the applicant, to include lot 3 on this map just because it was clearly split off when they did the deed of development rights when this was sold, but there was no formal application submitted to the planning department. So just like with the Manor subdivision, we're including the preserved parcel. Nothing's going to change on it. Nothing's going to be built on it. Still subject to all of the covenants and restrictions in the deed of development rights. We just wanted to include it on this map so that in the future, if somebody looks back to see how these parcels were created, it has a clear path. So just a little bit of history on the parcel. There was a minor subdivision that was approved by the planning board back in 1977, which resulted in 5727 Sound Avenue. That's that little lot. It's shown as an out parcel, Casey Moisa. So that's 8-3-7.2, and that was already developed with a pre-existing single-family dwelling. And then the remainder of the parcel was the totality of lots 1, 2, and 3 as shown on the map. When the county bought the development rights, lot 3 was created, and then proposed lots 1 and 2 were a single lot, which is 8-3-7.3. So what the applicant would like to do is split that lot into Lot 1, which would be 2.4393 acres, and Lot 2, which would be 2.5977 acres. Both would be developable, have single-family houses put on them. They do conform to the APZ zoning use district in terms of size and frontage. Obviously, if they were going to come in for building permits after the subdivision, if it's approved, they would need to conform to all of the setback requirements. I did refer this new application to Ag Advisory, the Water District, Fire Marshal, the Jamesport Fire District, Consulting Engineer, Health Department, and the Planning Commission. I've only received a memo back from the Fire Marshal thus far, and they had no comments. So at this point, as with the prior application, we are going to have a resolution up for a vote to classify secra. It's a type 2 action and schedule a public hearing.
Everybody You good?
Yep.
Okay,
I'll
no, two
remind you
resolutions.
that the Jets, again, is nothing to do with the football team. It's Janet, Teresa, Edward, people in the family,
Okay,
okay?
Yeah,
thank you.
the farm road access now. Yeah, is that gonna stay the way it is? It goes from one lot to the next?
Yeah, so it's an existing dirt gravel road that I showed in my staff report. It traverses that existing lot and it connects actually to the other subdivision. That's why they're showing the future easement there, I guess, in order to maintain access across the farm
Yeah,
fields.
just so they can get to both farms, that's all.
I did refer it to Vinny, so if he has any comments or concerns, he'll let us know when he comes back with a memo.
But at this point, it's permanent access at this point. Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Carney.
Agenda item number 3, the Malice Property Minor Subdivision, and I believe that's with Matt. Yep. Hey, doing, Matt?
Good, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Just introduce yourself for the record when you have a seat.
Hi, my name is John Armentano. I'm an attorney with Farrell Fritz, representing the applicant.
Unknown caller.
Still? Okay. All right, the planning department has received and reviewed a minor subdivision application for Malice property. This is just over a 1 acre property located at 86 2nd Street in South Jamesport. They're proposing to subdivide into 2 non-conforming lots. Lot 1 is to contain an existing house and will contain 21,776 square feet. And Lot 2 would currently have, it's a garage and a shed that are going to be demolished and contains 25,567 square feet. It's more particularly identified as Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-92-2-38. It's on the north side of 2nd Street in South Jamesport between Point and Green Streets. Pretty much everything around it is residential, except for the tiny little post office that's next door to the west. If you look through the staff report, it's an oversized parcel for the area. Obviously, the lots wouldn't conform to the zoning use district, but upon subdivision, it's generally in the character of the neighborhood. In terms of secret, this is an unlisted action. I do have a resolution on today to recommend a neg deck. It does have a CO for a single-family residence with covered front porch, a rear deck, and a detached 2-car garage. Really not too much to this application, absent the relief that'll be required from the ZBA, which is on page 4. It's all called out. Obviously, for lot area, they'll also need lot width on both lots, and then on lot 1, they will need an impervious variance where they have 21.1%, where the maximum permitted is 15%. Park and rec fee, they'll need $5,000 for the additional lot being created. It's been referred to the water district, no comments to date, nothing yet from the engineer or the highway department. Fire marshal had no comments. It's been referred to the fire district, and we have no comments yet. Just an update on the landmarks and preservation committee. This is in the South Jamesport Historic District. They had no comments at this time. I just hadn't received them yet when the report went out. Health department, they need an application, it hasn't been received yet. And then in terms of SHPO, because this is in the circles and squares map, they have no impacts on an archaeologically sensitive
The frame
area.
garage and the frame shed, they're coming down?
Coming down.
Yes.
So as you see, it's a 1 squarish lot. Justin, can you zoom out, please? A little more. That's good. Yeah, so that's the garage here, on my finger, and the shed, they're both coming out. Building envelope on the proposed lot is here, and that's the existing house.
You're gonna keep the gated entry?
I think John can answer it.
It depends on the layout. If it can be maintained, and it doesn't impede access, yes. I mean, we'd like to keep it as consistent as it has been in the community.
Yeah, they're all the same size, a lot of those lots on there. I don't think we're setting any precedents.
Yeah, no, they're too much.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, I drove through the neighborhood, and there are probably a good 6, 8 more other like side lots and, yards that can be doing the same thing. Right? So you're not setting any precedent yet.
I don't think so.
And I agree, all the homes have, a little bit small areas, I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with it.
It's a similar character. It does meet health department standards for the lot area, based on the groundwater management zone that it's in. It's just our zoning that it doesn't comply with.
Is there a particular size house that you cannot go over?
I mean,
Square footage.
So, I mean, basically what you see in terms of a building area is what you could build. Obviously, they'd probably go over their impervious surface in that instance, but it's not very big. So from what the drawing that's on the map is
Right,
pretty much
right.
the size that you would see. I believe it's a 27 by 66 foot dwelling. Modest, I would describe it.
What about these wood curbs? Are they gonna be removed?
Where do you see that? Oh, that's the existing driveway.
Yeah.
I would assume, obviously, it goes across the lot lines. They have two proposed driveways for a concept in there, so I would say that U-shaped driveway that goes to the garage is probably going to come out, unless on the gated side where it goes to the garage is going to stay. But we can go through that as we get
It
further
seems to
on.
me that they all should be removed.
Probably, I would say that's probably a good idea.
Be a special house.
Yeah.
A special house with only 39 feet.
Yep. It's really in character with the neighborhood, so.
Yeah, it is.
Not too much here. So action today would be unlisted in a neg deck so they can proceed to the ZBA. If they get their desired relief, then they come back and we schedule a public hearing.
Sounds good.
Everybody good? Okay, all set, John.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving right along. Agenda item number 4, 1125 Old Country Road facade improvements, once again with Matt Jones.
Okay, this is a real quick one. Pull the plan up. No staff report on this, just an approval to amend. If you recall, I believe it was back in June? Sorry, May 16th, we had the former Blockbuster in for a administrative site plan. They were doing facade work. Part of their application, they were going to regrade the parking lot, do a little cut and fill. A condition of approval was getting a grading and drainage plan approved by the town engineer. That's been submitted and approved, which is what you saw in your packet. So this would be to administratively approve the grading and drainage plan.
This is what he hadn't applied for. Okay, so it's just,
Yes, it's complying with the condition of approval from Resolution 2024-38. Pretty straightforward conditions. It just calls out that this is what the approval is for. And I think they'll need a 229 permit, which is handled through the building department for the importation and exportation.
Yeah, I've been by there quite a few times. They do
Yeah, he
a
did
nice
nice
job.
It looks really good. I think everybody's pretty happy with the way it came out.
Matt,
Nice
the only
level.
question, that 30 by 100 in the back, the dirt area,
Yep.
that's his, right?
That's his. It's gonna remain grass for now, and if he wanted to do a future improvement, he'd have to come back to you.
Yeah, they just
That
installed a
was-
fence around it.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, and they did open the cross-access to the West Marine parking lot, so
Yep.
it's gonna, I think, help everything out a lot in there.
He did a beautiful job.
Yeah, it looks
Really
good.
did.
yep,
Great job.
All right, everybody good?
yep.
Okay. Agenda item number 5, TJOC Real Estate Holdings with Greg Bergman.
I'll sit way over here.
How you doing?
I'm just here you guys have chairs right now?
Sure.
Here, I'm good. I'll get some chairs. Here. We came with the whole crew, I know.
Good.
It's a big project.
A few more people in the parking lot.
Bring them in.
Clown car.
Well, we could go out.
Charging them for parking.
Just kidding, sorry.
Is there a cooler with him?
If you gentlemen could just go around the table.
I'd be out there.
Introduce yourself, please.
Vic Trojanowski, working on the project.
Mike Kelly, I'm the applicant.
Matthew Elward, civil engineer, R&M Engineering.
I'm Phil Giordano, architect, BLD Architecture.
John Borkman, counsel for the applicant, Egan and Golden.
Greg Bergman, senior planner with the Riverhead Planning Department.
Okay, before we get too far into this, I did have a conversation with the property owner next to HK Ventures, who originally would not submit to a lot line easement.
The future cross access.
Yeah, future cross access. I did speak to those two owners today. They are willing to do that, because I'm sure this project, the state may want to put a light there. Now, if we have a light at HK and a light here, it just doesn't make any sense. If we could do one light at Fresh Pond,
All right,
just
so
think,
I don't disagree with you, Ed. But before we get into this, so just speaking to that, I mean, the applicant for that project in March of 2021, the neighboring property owner denied future cross access.
Right.
The applicant went forward with their project, understanding that they could not cross onto that neighboring property. That obviously would have been the fix for that.
Yep.
But an applicant with frontage on a state highway, state can't withhold access. They can't withhold a curb cut. They can't withhold so I don't disagree with you. But unfortunately, 3 years down the road, now that he's unfortunately had some sort of like buyer's remorse. I mean, I never got one call from that project saying, hey, what's going on with this?
yeah.
He denied it, so
Follow
I
up with
just, I don't.
HK. It just makes common sense to have a light at Fresh Pond. All the senior citizens that live down there can get it in and out, and it'll eliminate one, because they're gonna probably have a light.
So to get into this, I think we can address some of that, may not necessarily, let's get through this report and I will.
Okay, I just wanted to bring it up.
I agree with you, and I
Late
think that's
breaking news.
important, and that will be something that will come up and look
Okay.
through the secret review. So, this project, on a high-level overview, involves two applications that are currently before the planning board. One is a major subdivision, the other is a site plan application.
Are we
So,
gonna handle these together?
what's that?
Are they gonna be handled together?
They have to be, yes. We're gonna, so they are,
Why do they have to be?
I mean, we have to consider the impacts from the entire project. So, I mean, this is not just one application independent of the other. This is a subdivision of land and then a future development of those subdivided parcels. So in terms of secret, we can't segment the review. Obviously, when we get to any types of approvals or anything, there will be separate resolutions potentially approving a subdivision or a site plan. But when we review this, we have to look at the total action and weigh all of the impacts and consider how everything's gonna work out. So when we talk about the total action, it is the subdivision and the site plan. We're looking at them both
Okay.
currently.
Thank you.
Excuse me for a second, did you want to make a comment, sir?
That's okay. I was listening to the conversation about the traffic light. and
Okay.
Having built quite a number of similarly situated parcels, we've run into those issues, so
Okay, all right.
not uncommon, nor, especially on the state highway, we've done that
Yeah,
as well.
I just think why all these projects are ink on paper, it's kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good time to put it on the table. So from our standpoint, my standpoint, I understand it. We'll work however we can with you guys
Yeah.
and the neighbors to make sure
Okay, great,
everything makes sense.
thank you.
That's all.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thanks.
No, it's all right.
Thank you.
So the subject property is a vacant wooded 15.8 acre site located on the north side of Middle Country Road. It's located approximately 475 feet west of the intersection of Middle Country Road and Calverton. Subject property is split zoned. Now on the map here, just for reference, the left side of the paper, this is Middle Country Road. So maybe I'll orient it like this, so we can just think of it. Justin, can we zoom out a little bit? All right, so now, can we go more? Can we zoom out more? Let's get the whole thing, there we go. All right, so Middle Country Road here, so we're looking in a north-south orientation. The northern portion of the property is zoned Residence B40, which is a 1 acre residential zone. The front approximately 500 feet are zoned Hamlet Center, which is a zoning district which allows mixed-use commercial and residential. There's approximately 242,000 square feet of Hamlet Center zoning district and about 448,000 square feet of residence B40 zoning district. The area contains a mix of agricultural uses, including Molosky's Poultry Farm directly to the west. single-family residential uses both to the north and west, which are part of Timber Park residential development. There's also assorted commercial and industrial uses, including J&R Steakhouse, Bean and Bagel Cafe, Calverton Commons development, which is a little bit further to the west. And then, as you recall, we've got the Tractor Supply site located just south of the intersection of Fresh Pond and Middle Country Road. And that site, for the board may remember, there are also approved 3 additional pad sites at that Tractor Supply site. So it's generally like it's becoming a little bit of a commercial node out in Calverton. The property, the front 485 feet are located within the Riverhead Water District, extension 37R for Calverton. It's in Suffolk County Groundwater Management Zone 3 with an allowable sanitary density of 4,761 gallons per day based on the property size. The property is located in the Wading River Fire District, and there are no mapped freshwater wetlands or anything on the property, so it's not encumbered. So when we talk about SECRA, it is a type 1 action. The overall development proposes land ground disturbance in excess of 10 acres, requiring mandatory coordinated review. In my report, I did detail the involved agencies and their level of involvement in review of the project. On page 6 of the staff report, there were just some minor amendments that need to be made to the full environmental assessment form just to clarify and make some accurate statements on it. So I have shared the report with the applicant. They will amend that full EAF and get it to us before we actually formally distribute the SECRA coordination material. Just some initial things. Again, we haven't begun to measure impacts or assess impacts, but just some things that the board will consider will obviously be traffic, water supply, sanitary wastewater management, impacts to groundwater, potential impacts to threatened or endangered species, loss of forested lands habitat, impacts of proposed exterior lighting, impacts on critical environmental areas, potential odors from a sewage treatment plant, and the property is located in a potentially archaeologically sensitive area, so we'll assess potential archaeological impacts. So I'll go through the subdivision first, and then I'll go through the sort of aspects of the site plan. So the subdivision will result in a 10-lot subdivision. There will be 7 residential lots, all right around 40,000 square feet, one going up to about 44,000 square feet, plus or minus. There will be a 77,000 square foot sewage treatment parcel. There will be a 217,000 square foot commercial parcel. I'll call it commercial because that's the Hamlet Center portion, which would be up here. And then lot number 10 would be a stormwater management parcel. As shown on the map, all of the lots comply with the dimensional requirements for each of the zoning districts in which they are located. The subdivision map does include a 55-foot wide right-of-way, which would comply with the town code. And the plans call for the installation of both water mains and sewer mains in that right-of-way. I do know that they are proposing, the map does include notes that the road is to be dedicated to the town of Riverhead Highway. I would think at this early stage that note should be removed. The highway department hasn't had a chance to review it, so I think it's early to say that road would be dedicated. However, I do note that they are designing it to town standard, should be dedicated.
Greg, what's the future best for? I see existing and then there's a future?
So that's a question I'm going to get to down the road. I'm not sure if that's required by the health department. I know sometimes health department, they'll require like future expansion.
It's a redundancy, right? The best system is the name of the system.
Okay.
And then health department just wants to make sure 30, 40, 50 years from now, there's a redundancy, there's enough room to build a new one while they're phased out of the initial.
Thank you.
But
So in terms of compliance with the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, they do need to submit a yield map. So when we look at a yield map, we just look for the maximum development potential of a subject property. This map sort of jumps the gun a little bit with the inclusion of the sewage treatment plant. But I do know, based on the size of the sewage treatment plant and the sizes of the lots within the subdivision, they could definitely prepare an 8-lot residential subdivision map that would both meet the dimensional requirements of the RB40 zoning district as well as the health department sanitary standards. So I don't think that's a heavy lift to demonstrate an 8-lot yield map. That said, if the 8-lot yield map would be approved, 7 lots would represent a reduction in density, which under our current Long Island Workforce Housing Act would require the need to provide on-site affordable housing. So getting to the site plan, the site plan proposes to develop Lot 9 of the subdivision with a two-story mixed-use building, which will consist of approximately 30,000 square feet of ground floor commercial space, which is identified as retail, along with 36 residential apartments on the upper floors. The residential apartments are identified on the floor plans as a one-bedroom unit, which includes a loft space, which I'll bring up. So there's a rendering of the development from Middle Country Road. Here is a floor plan. So the commercial ground floor use as well as apartments on upper floors all conform to the permitted uses within the Hamlet Center zoning district. The application right now, the only variance that is required based on the plans is for exterior lighting, which I'll get to in a little bit, but aside from the lighting, which I believe can be easily amended, the application is fully as of right. They would not be seeking any variances. In terms of access to the site would be taken from a new right-of-way for Middle Country Road, which is proposed along the western side of the project site, which will serve as access to both the commercial development as well as the residential subdivision. The commercial development would come off Middle Country Road onto the new right-of-way and then be served by a curb cut off of that new right-of-way. Site plan provides a total of 177 parking stalls, which includes 20 land bank parking stalls. The land bank stalls are here. You can zoom out a little bit, Justin. Yep, that's good. So 177 total parking stalls. The calculations include parking for the residential apartments at a rate of 1.5 parking stalls per dwelling unit, and parking for retail, which is based on a rate of 1 per 250 square feet. The parking is generally located in the central courtyard as well as...
How are they going to differentiate between the residents and the commercial? Is there going to be special spots like in the center?
In terms of assigned parking?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because otherwise you're going to have them, you'll have the residents parking all over the place.
yeah. I hate to be like the parking police, especially on a community like this. Typically, we'll assign a parking spot for the residential. This way they know where they're gonna be able to go. And then during the day, God willing, they're all working and they're probably not around to interfere with the commercial aspect of it. But to your point, right, ensuring that they have a spot wherever that may be, we'll work that out with staff.
Will you restrict this internal area just for commercial?
That's how we anticipated it, that southern parking, perhaps most of the residential would be in the back on the north side, right? And then the commercial would be in that little pocket there, as well as around the rest of the building.
And if the residents go to park over there, they still have to go through the development or through an access way?
Right, there's
walkways around the building.
Yeah, stairs on both sides, on the north side of the building, so they can access through there and then walk through.
Well, I'm just looking at the what is it, the southern end. Yeah. Those developed parking, those spots, they have to walk through, right?
Correct.
Is there access?
Or they could enter the building on the north side and then walk through to the south side. Right, so they could be inside the building.
So the building is oriented like this, so this would be north, this would be south. So if you're parking on the north side of the building, if you're a resident, you can come in through this stairwell and you can actually go through this like hallways along the second floor. But yes, I mean, you will have to walk to your apartments. Again, it's not a tremendous site, so it's not a very long distance. So just to parking, in terms of our town code, retail is sort of one of the least intense parking uses. The Hamlet Center zoning district does allow a pretty wide range of permitted uses without any tenants identified. The applicant should probably consider, I don't know if they can run some calculations to see if 2,000 square foot of retail space were converted to a restaurant, how many seats that could hold. We don't want to get into a situation where it can just be retail. We want to make sure there's enough parking and flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they want to have, someone wants to have a little bar, a little cafe, a little bistro, a little restaurant, anything, office spaces permitted in Hamlet Center, so we should just plan for some flexibility.
You got cross-access easements on both sides?
So I am proposing that. So I do recommend, so town code requires cross-access for future developments. So right now, to the west, Molosky's Poultry Farm is about, I believe, a 20-acre parcel, 21 acres. It shares the same zoning line. So in the future, there could be a similar development in size and scale and nature. So it would make sense that if this is going to serve as a right-of-way, we want to make a future cross-access to the west, which would access Molosky. Again, it would make sense to have those two line up. And I do recommend on page 10 of the staff report, I highlighted a couple of sections. Right now, this is the eastern property boundary. They show a no parking stall, which I'm assuming is a loading berth. It seems like that loading berth could be reconfigured to here, and that this could be left open for future cross-access to J&R Steakhouse. Now, on the topic of future cross-access and where this might present an opportunity down the road to address, and I apologize, this isn't in my staff report, so I'm kind of freestyling a little bit. The neighboring property owner to the east is right now vacant farm field. Development rights are intact. Justin, can we zoom out a little bit? A little more so that we can see the whole picture. There would be potential and it would make sense. So Fresh Pond Avenue is over here. Allow, when we're doing the subdivision, allow for like a future connector road where if this property to the east is ever developed, incorporate some type of like tap road where down the road, I have no indication that Fresh Pond will be signalized. It's ultimately the DOT's decision, but in the event that that's not, this could serve as access. If this is a future signalized intersection, it would provide an opportunity in the future to create a road where people could access a light. Just something to consider down the road for the future planning.
Is there any buffering against the northern property line? Is existing houses there? Is there any buffering or just a lot?
So the code doesn't require buffering from residence to residence. Again, that's something I think we can maybe incorporate as we look through the potential impacts, if there's any ways to retain some existing buffers.
There are no existing, but it's just straight farmland.
Well, but the entire property right now is wooded.
Right.
So, the people to the north of the development, on South Path, they're looking at woods. With increased development, if this were to be completely cleared, which would not recommend, but, that would open up that view shed where they can, potentially see some street glare. So if there's any way we can incorporate some type of buffers between the residents, that's something that we'll definitely consider.
And they're probably eventually going to come in.
What's that?
They'll come in mass.
Yeah.
I think we've got about a 60-foot setback off that back property line.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
looks like it says 60.
we could absolutely do whatever fencing, landscaping.
Yeah, that 60 feet, I think, is just demonstrating the required setback, so they're sort of identifying the building envelope. But that's, like I said, there's no requirements in the code buffering residential to residential, but it's something that we can definitely consider and I would recommend.
Have you built any of these with the, I'm looking at a metal roof, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
We're
Have you done any like that?
We're doing one right now. First floor is restaurant, second floor is office, medical office. But it's a metal roof. We're doing that in Farmingville right now.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that.
It's a nice look for like a Hamlet Center type of place.
Yes.
The one we're doing in Farmingville is actually on Horse Block Road, so it's a pretty well-traveled road, and pretty eye-catching. So,
As far as providing town water, who is responsible for paying for the installation of that?
So the developer would pay, yes. When we send these applications out and we seek referrals, it will obviously go to the Riverhead Water District. We will seek their input on that. Definitely, I would wager to say they're gonna have a map and plan to see what they need to do in order to provide water to the site, both for potable water as well as fire service.
Greg,
Yes.
could you just go over once again the cross-access? Is the one to the east? Is that?
So
is
right
that-
now,
is
the
20
maps,
foot?
the map right now does not show the cross-access. That's something that I'm recommending.
Okay.
I recommend it on the west side here with Molosky's, and on the east side here for J&R's Steakhouse.
I see.
And then, again, potentially we can explore incorporating some future cross-access out to Fresh Pond for the north.
You know, with these cross-access, one is traffic, right? But, you know, you have commercial uses like J&R's and the coffee shop to the west. You know, in building that treatment plant, if we can have those conversations with those owners, and I don't know them, if you have, you can refer them to me and Rick, and, you know, if we can take them off of sanitary
Yeah,
and put them in a treatment plant, I think it's good for everybody.
yeah,
So, just something to think about.
Especially the restaurant.
The restaurant would
especially the
be,
restaurant, right?
So that is something I did discuss, I think I brought up down the road in the report. I don't want to jump around too much, so I just want to just
Sorry,
kind
I
of
didn't mean to
go
jump
through,
in.
it's all right, so
Sorry.
I'll just go through. So loading areas, town code based on the size of the commercial space requires 2 loading berths. Right now, they just really show 1 loading area. So they need to incorporate an additional loading area, and really should consider where commercial deliveries are gonna take place, residential deliveries, Amazon, Uber Eats, DoorDash, that sort of stuff. So they need to incorporate that into the plans. Cross-access, we touched on. There's a number of design standards, which I don't wanna go through each of them, but
Frank,
there are.
excuse me, I just want to, up front here, are you leaning towards requiring us to get the cross easements?
So when we,
Which I think is a
when
great
we
idea.
review a
It's great.
site plan,
It's
we have an applicant, you know, obviously, we understand that an applicant cannot control property outside
Right.
their property lines.
Right.
When we review site plans, we have you file a future cross-access agreement. So for example, when I say this area would be described by meets and bounds, you would file a future cross-access where in the event the neighboring property is developed, that's where we're gonna seek it through. So we
It's
have,
just planning for the future.
yeah,
Well, I'm fine with that. I mean, I honestly, my experience is we should try to do it now.
that's what we're doing.
Because because with wall bounds, it took 20 years. I was on the town board for that one. And even on the other side now, for the Zambra building, which they redid, I think they had to do a cross easement recently. And originally, when that whole thing started, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I mean,
so,
that's why we're bringing it up now, and, you know, those elements will be incorporated into any design.
I know both property owners on this, and I'm pretty sure we have a pretty good chance of not having a big production if we get cross easements here.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you're, at this point, when you talk about this development, we're just talking about filing them on your properties.
Okay.
You know, if you want to, if the neighboring property owners want to be made aware
Well,
of
that's what I was
the
gonna
future
say. In other
locations.
words, do we get it legally, the cross easement, then we don't actually create the cross easement as part of the site plan until later on for the
Correct.
traffic flow?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, now that said, if a neighboring property owner, if it comes in, if you want to construct it now, again, I don't think Molosky's Poultry Farm needs a cross-access to their site, but again, for future development, future planning, makes sense.
Right.
The development rights are intact on that parcel. so-
That's correct, yeah.
Someday.
So it's not a, that's why I say kind of do it now
Yeah.
before.
It's ink on paper at this point.
Maybe JR's might want actually now.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you know, when you go out to that section of Calverton, there's no real formal curb cuts. I mean, J&R Steakhouse, it's like a wide open free-for-all.
Right.
Bean and Bagel, Molosky's Poultry, it's like a free-for-all. It's like, oh, go in where you want, come out where you want, don't hit anybody.
But
It's,
the
you know,
new project
so
have to have a
getting
real
some
curb cut.
getting some formalized, you know, when we saw Tractor Supply get developed,
Right.
they put curbing, they put in
Yeah.
sidewalks. When this gets referred to the DOT is
Yeah,
going to look
they
for
want a
curbing, they're going to
sidewalk.
look for sidewalks, so it'll help bring some order, you know, when you look at neighboring development, it'll help bring some order to that area. So as I mentioned, just very briefly, I don't want to harp on it, right now the exterior lighting poles are proposed at 20-foot height, which does not comply with the dark skies code. I think that's a pretty simple redesign. Landscaping and irrigation, they appear to indicate, just based on looking at the plans, it looks like they're proposing to irrigate landscaping with town water. The Riverhead Water District does not allow that, so they would need to incorporate a irrigation well at some point. I did have some initial conversations with Suffolk County Transit. So right now, there is an existing bus stop just east of Fresh Pond Avenue. As you will recall, the Tractor Supply did a little turnout on the south side. There's a stop on the north side. Again, there's no formal turnout there. I referred to them, just had a quick conversation. This might be an opportunity to incorporate a turnout here. I mean, there's going to be more people here, employees, residents. It makes sense, so we'll keep the Suffolk County Transit in the loop regarding this development. So to the sewage treatment plant, they are proposing a sewage treatment plant, a biologically engineered single sludge treatment to collect sanitary from the entire development, both the commercial as well as the residential component. They do show that future BESST, again, if it's redundancy. But, with the potential development of the neighboring parcels, there may be an opportunity where we could allow future connections rather than build a sewage treatment plant here and then another one right next door. And I think that's probably something that the health department will look at and look for like future connections rather than just build a bunch of little package plants all over the place.
Are you satisfied with the best system? Yeah, is that what you're gonna go with?
That's what we're gonna go with, right? So the chromoglass system, I think, had become outdated, and this
Talking
new.
about membranes, really.
Yeah, so.
Membranes are the next thing.
Yeah.
Different type of situation, rather than best. Membranes is, self-contained. Okay.
Yeah, it's worked well on other sites that we've had. The odor control, which is, I think, something that you mentioned in your report, right? That's something that, I think it's the most modern technology that they have in there, so they've spent a lot of time.
Odor mitigation.
Yeah.
Might be a little premature to ask, but how are you going to split up that 30,000 commercial? Any idea? I mean, 5 units of 5, units of 6?
We've had a lot of communication. I've had a lot of communication with the president of Douglas Elliman on the commercial side of things. He's very positive about possible tenancy. I think really it's going to be judged on timing, right? Who's available. If we can define a start date and an occupancy date, he'll get a heck of a lot more interest. But it's going from some little niche, like a Trader Joe's, Aldi's, something like that, some medical office, combination thereof. So until we could really formalize it, maybe even a pub or a restaurant of some type. So I think that the options really start to solidify once we can formalize this with.
Yeah, because you're kind of central to a lot of people, all the workers at EPCAL and all the homeowners down on Fresh.
Also, it depends on, just my real estate Hannah, is it a local mom and pop tenant or corporate? The corporate guys like Applebee's and stuff, they have their own specifications. They say for a 4,400 square foot box, I know it's for a fact, it doesn't matter what the town requirements are for parking. They want more parking. That's how they make money. So, and they don't deviate. So if a corporate guy comes in there, they might take most of the space, or you can split it up. But I agree with you. I think until you get an idea who's interested in renting the bulk space, and then it'll be build to suit. It'll be build to suit. That's all.
So I see there's no drive on the east part of the building, or the back of the building. So all entrances, all deliveries would come from the west. Is that correct, Craig?
Yes, so there is one access point. Again, I think the logic was to probably put some distance and separation between Fresh Pond Avenue and the access point. The property is about 490 feet wide, so I mean, you pick up an extra 475 feet rather than putting the project at, the site access on the east side. So yes, all development, all access to both the residents and the commercial would come from the new right-of-way.
And deliveries go into where?
So, that's something the applicant needs to address. Right now, they just show the one potential loading area back here. Again, by code, they need 2. I don't know if the feasibility to have, so in other words, if a delivery driver is making a delivery here for a potential retail or commercial tenant on the south side, like there's no walkways, so they'd have to right now walk around the whole site. I think that's just something the applicant needs to refine and demonstrate where they're gonna put an additional loading area. So the site plan and subdivision would be subject to park and recreation fees enumerated in town code. As I stated, it's in the Riverhead Water District.
Is that a mistake when you said Jamesport?
Yes, I apologize. That's a holdover from a previous report. It is in the Calverton 32R extension. So really, we will get comments once the applicant revises that EAF. I do have a resolution on to classify it as a type 1 and just initiate that coordination. Upon submission of the revised EAF, we'll send those documents out to involved agencies and start soliciting comments. So.
Yeah, this is very early. We'll have time to talk about setbacks, landscaping, and all that later.
Any other specific questions the board wants to ask or get into?
So, so the next step, Greg, is we have to get back to you on the corrections, and then you're gonna do a resolution with the planning board.
So we already have a resolution.
Oh, so you're gonna
that'll
do that
be done.
today,
So
okay.
once you get the amended
Good, so
EAF,
that-
I have the documentation.
And then you'll pass it around.
We can send it out to
We'll
involved
start the
agencies.
CEQA process, okay, and then after that, we'll determine how to handle this, the type 1 action, scoping, 1.5, stuff like that,
Yep.
whatever, okay.
Your resolution number 7 for tonight.
Good. All right,
Thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 6 is Seacrest Estates, previously the villas at Roanoke. With Greg.
And I'll put it back.
Back again?
Yep. That's the correct, that's the approved map. Justin, can we just zoom in on this map, please? All right, thank you, good. Zoom out a little bit, good, thank you. All right, so this is just a quick follow-up discussion for the Seacrest Estates major subdivision, previously the villas at Roanoke. As the board will recall, the board approved a 14-lot major residential subdivision, which is this one. One of those lots within that subdivision was a density bonus that resulted from the Long Island Workforce Housing Act. That lot was going to be developed and sold as an affordable lot. The applicant has requested to amend the map in accordance with our Long Island Workforce Housing Act. What they have proposed is a reduction to 13 lots. Again, within the same development footprint, they're not changing the open space buffer area. Essentially, what they did was sort of just combine lots 12, 13, and 14 and made those lots larger. And in lieu of that density bonus within that subdivision, the applicant has agreed to pay. There is a provision in the Workforce Housing Act that allows for a fee in lieu of that density bonus. And that's prescribed in our town code. So at the applicant's request, I have an approval on to amend the map to allow the 13-lot subdivision and authorize the acceptance of that payment.
How much is it?
I believe it's $280,000, $280,500 in that neighborhood. And that money is going to be set aside in a separate account, which will be created by the town board. And the sole purpose of that account, it cannot be commingled with any other funds. It cannot be applied to a general fund. The purpose of that fund is spelled out in New York General Municipal Law 699B, the Long Island Workforce Housing Act, and is specifically to be used for creation of construction of workforce housing, purchase of land to be used for workforce housing, or other.
So it's dedicated.
Correct, it's dedicated. It's not just going into a general coffer to be used to pay for budget. It will be in a dedicated fund. Any interest accrued in that money will stay in that fund and be used towards that purpose.
And we're prepared to pay that now.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, why did they do that?
I think that they have a lot of reservation as to how the workforce housing would fit in
Okay.
with that area.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a more valuable project.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, so and again, in accordance with the town code, we've had conversations with Dawn. The town can really do a lot of good with money that's gonna be in these funds. So I do have a resolution on, and I do just wanna bring to the board's attention, about the development. I did get some complaints, from neighboring residences located directly across the street to Sound Shore Road. The complaints in nature, so there were two complaints. One of them was impacts from the development that's going on up there and the construction was leading to an increase of the groundwater elevation in the area. People's properties across the street, ground was wet, water was coming into basements. I had the applicant's engineer, basically I informed them of the complaints. I had them do an engineering memo. At the time when we were getting these complaints, we had historic levels of rainfall. I mean, we've gotten calls from other areas of town where people have never had water issues, were having water in their basement. Both the town engineer and Vinnie Gaudiello reviewed that memo. Essentially was because of the level of rainfall that we've had, and the nature of the area of Sound Shore Road, there's a lot of clayey soils, it essentially becomes perched. That this was not a localized issue that was due to the development going on Sound Shore Road. So that was one complaint, and then I did receive another complaint, which was investigated and was validated. There was a breakdown in the erosion protection structures on the east side of the property. So I received a video. There was basically a chocolate river of mud going down this right-of-way, down to Sound Shore Road. Again, that complaint was followed up on by the town engineer and their SWIP officer. They corrected those on-site deficiencies, so they bolstered all of the hay bales, they reinforced the silt fencing. So overland runoff coming off the site is definitely a valid complaint. But to the raising of the groundwater, both, like I said, our town engineer and Vinnie Gaudiello, upon review of the memo and the plans that we've done so far, they were comfortable in saying that the development here is not raising the groundwater.
That ponding area that's on the west side is a low area to start with.
Correct. So this is a low area, and if any overflow will continue on into the wetlands, which are on the North Fork Preserve. But so I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, that we have had some drainage complaints up there. One was founded to be valid and addressed. The other one, both engineers were comfortable that it was not a result of the development happening on Sound Shore Road.
But as you stated, which is true, there was so much water.
Yep.
People had water in there. I had water in my building, I never got water in my building, so.
Yeah, not just
40
local.
years I never got water, I got water this year.
Yeah, so that was not a localized issue to Sound Shore Road. It's possibly just exacerbated because, again, the clay soils, the water gets in there and it becomes perched and will take a long, long time to drain.
So we're just doing one less lot because of the pavement. That's
Great.
That's good.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Agenda item number 7, Diaz lot line modification, and Greg's gonna tell us all about it. Hello.
Hi, I'm Andrea Diaz.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
All right, Justin, can we zoom out just a bit? Thank you, good? Good? All right. So this is an application, this has actually been before the board several years ago. It went inactive. The applicant has since submitted a new application. So the long and short of it, this is a lot line modification being proposed between Mr. and Mrs. Diaz's property, which is located at 718 Roanoke Avenue. It's just opposite the intersection of Roanoke Avenue and Pulaski Street. They are proposing to take about a 14-foot wide stretch of the right-of-way, which is right now part of the Lakeside Trailer Court Mobile Home Park. Right now, that actually connects, that right-of-way goes from Roanoke Avenue straight through to Pondview Road. Through the previous application, we had identified that the owners at, it's called Young Street. We had identified that the owner of 1 Young Street and 3 Young Street both had interest in that right-of-way, to traverse that right-of-way. Since the initial application, Ms. Diaz has taken ownership of 1 Young Street, and they have submitted a document from the owner of 3 Young Street agreeing to relinquish their interest in the right-of-way up to this point. So they will still need to be able to exit through the Young Street right-of-way to Pondview Road.
Where are those mobile homes?
So the mobile homes are shown on the plan here. All the mobile homes.
Yeah. No. Where is 1 Young Street?
So 1 Young Street, if you look on this, 1 Young Street is right here.
Where?
Right here. This is the
Right, it says now we're formerly of Charles Mechner.
Okay.
And then 3 Young Street is where it says now we're formerly Patricia Kavanaugh.
Okay.
So the Diaz's have taken ownership of 1 Young Street, and the owner of 3 Young Street has agreed to relinquish the right-of-way up to that point. So they will now access solely from Pondview. They will no longer have access to go the entire right-of-way. We had a contract of sale from the original application. I would just like to see that that's updated. Just want to make sure that several years down the road, the Lakeside Mobile Home Park is still aware that the application is active. Beyond that, I noted that 1 Young Street is not currently connected to sewer. No objection to the lot line modification, but we should just reserve a future sewer easement in the event that that lot ever connects.
I did actually speak to the sewer department, and he told me that 1 and 3 would be easier to hook up to the trailer park, and they would go out on Franklin. That's what he told me. But because we own the house, we have no problems if it has to go the other way.
All right, it's simple. I mean, yeah, if they're going to connect there, that's fine. It just couldn't hurt to have the future easement.
I know your house because you always have such nice landscaping.
I know, that's my husband.
Yeah, it's a
He
nice
spends a
job.
fortune.
Yeah, well, it shows.
Well, you should see what we find in the flowers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, this right of way, like you almost have no idea. It looks like a driveway. Like you don't realize. I didn't until I got the application and went back there. You almost have no idea that it's back there.
Yeah, we used to, when I was kids, we used to use that all the time.
So we did get a comments from the fire marshal. So they just do need to install like a Knox gate or a Knox lock in the event of emergency access. They need to get an ambulance in there, and I don't think a ladder truck is ever going to need to get back there. Would have the turning access, but just in any kind of emergency case. So again, once we get the updated contract of sale, I think we can move forward and schedule a public hearing on the application. Moving forward. No objections to the application.
Okay. You guys good?
Yep.
Okay. Very good.
Okay, so I'll do an updated thing?
Yep. And we'll
And
get a
get
public
that
hearing and get you going.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alrighty. Public comments on resolutions.
Just real quick, if we could just have a walk-on addition for the Second Street Townhomes.
Sure.
Discussion on the site plan. So, real quickly, board recalls this is a update on the Second Street Townhome site plan application. This is the vacant lot at 46 East Second Street, which was the site of house that burned down a few years ago. It's currently vacant with the exception of the garage in the back corner. The site plan application proposes right now an 8-unit townhouse development. So there's 8 residential units. Each unit is a 2-bedroom unit. Based on our town code, each unit, the parking is 1.5 parking stalls per dwelling unit. They require 12 parking stalls. The initial version of the site plan included 11 parking stalls behind the units, as well, inclusive of one handicap stall and accessible aisle. They sought a one parking stall variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals denied that variance, so they're looking to seek some guidance in redesigning the project. The applicant was able to submit a plan which shows one additional parking stall in the front yard here at the southeast corner of the property. It would require its own curb cut. It would essentially be a dedicated one parking stall for that use. While it's not ideal, it does reduce the landscaping in the front yard. The board did approve a similar arrangement at the 48 3rd Street Townhomes project, which is the 4-unit development on the north side of 3rd Street. If you're looking at the building, they have a main parking lot on the left side of that development, and then they have a similar case where they have just one parking stall on the corner.
This is a back out?
Yeah, I mean, back out, back in, it would be one parking stall on 2nd Street. I spoke with the developer, and there were a couple of different, could have taken some different approaches. One different approach was to reduce the number of units. So instead of having 8 two-bedroom units, as of right, he could have had a 7-unit development, could have potentially made, instead of having 8 two-bedrooms, he could have had 5 two-bedroom units, and then he could have made one of the buildings larger and incorporated potentially 2 3-bedroom units. Now, I mean, when we talk in terms of realistic impacts on parking supply, it's more likely that redesigning the project to incorporate 2 3-bedroom units would probably exacerbate the parking requirements more than that. So, while it's not ultimately ideal, and town code in its design guidelines does say parking shall not be permitted in the front yard, that is a guideline that the board has discretion and has authorized and approved on-site parking.
Greg, didn't we discuss putting an extra spot in the back of one of those buildings? Didn't we discuss that?
So right now they have 24 feet.
I'm talking about right adjacent, almost adjacent and abutting one of those buildings.
What, in the back here?
No. Right along, where your pen is.
So these are the parking stalls. This is the required 24-foot wide drive aisle.
Oh.
So it's very tight. There's nowhere additionally to park that. Now I do note when I conferred with Deputy Town Attorney Danielle Hurley. This project does incorporate one handicapped accessible parking stall as well as a handicapped aisle. I asked her to look into ADA requirements in compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Because this project has no public component, meaning there's no public facing, a rental office, a community space, they weren't required to comply with the ADA requirements. But there was also a component of the Federal Fair Housing Act. But when Councilor Hurley looked at that, because they're not seeking any federal funding, they technically didn't need it. So we're in a case where our town code requires the handicap accessible stall, but it's not actually required pursuant to ADA or federal housing. It's just a function of our code.
So they could put it in there.
Yeah, I just my personal opinion, I don't want to see the handicap stall go away.
No, I'm not saying, it's required by our code. It's just that situation where the reality of it is someone's probably gonna park there.
Yeah, that's correct.
But I'm not recommending.
If you like, I'll straw poll the board and see where we're at.
Are those 10-foot wide or 9s?
So when we first brought this to the board, I asked, they are proposed the 9x20 double stripe, which typically for commercial developments, the board's always gone by 10x20. When we initially came to the board, I asked the board that question. Being that this is a housing development where you're going to know who's living in your building, the board agreed to go by for the 9x20 double stripe for this. So they are.
Is there room to put the handicap on the street and provide a curb cut? It's not wide enough there at that.
No, I mean, I mean, parking is allowed on the south side, you know, this sort of ties into the board's recommendation that was transmitted to the town board recently about parking on Second Street, so.
Gotcha.
Here before the board to see if they're amenable with the additional parking stall in the front yard. Again, that would make it fully compliant with the parking requirements of the code. It is in the board's purview to allow that additional parking stall in the front, and it would allow the application to move forward.
Is there any possibility of being able to put a parking spot behind the building but parallel with the building?
That's George's answer.
Yeah, no, so this 24-foot from the stall to the back of the building is 24 feet, so there's no, if you put a parking stall there, you'd be like 10 foot, you couldn't get it.
Okay.
If the handicap spot were to be eliminated, would there be enough room then for an extra spot?
Yes, and again, I'm not recommending that,
I know you're
but yes, so if they did not have to have that accessible aisle, they could put a bank of 12 parking stalls along that back row and then be fully compliant.
You know, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I just don't like the backing out on Roanoke Avenue.
No.
And I don't like, there's very little landscaping in the front of this as it is. I like
I
adding
think
landscaping.
we've got at least one out this way.
Could it be put in the back where the containers are, where the dumpsters are? It's the same, you have the same amount of real estate
You
back
mean
there.
pull in this way, in other words, a hook?
So the one thing with that is, so they're able to kind of squeeze it in here, and it kind of impedes on the, you know, this person's, you know, what I'll call their little rear outdoor patio. If you were to put that parking stall here,
Yes. I
you're
see.
literally parking right behind, you know.
Gotcha, yes.
You're gonna be
Okay.
looking at your car.
I'm not necessarily in favor of it, so you gentlemen,
We'll go with the handicap removal.
Well, right now, so without a code amendment, that's not an option. I was just discussing that for the board's knowledge. You know, again, if we want to discuss, you know, making the recommendation to a code amendment. But again, if someone,
I'm not in favor of a parking lot, a parking space on the street.
Greg, as we discussed, yeah, I don't like the idea of getting rid of the handicap. I don't think it's fair. And this gentleman knows that it's brand-new construction. He's created a hardship that, you know, he wants us to deal with instead of him. So in other words, if he can shorten the size of the building or whatever, I'm not crazy about putting the parking in front. I don't know. Try to, you know, make the building a little smaller to where you can just find one someplace or something.
so not in favor of the parking stall in the front yard.
I'm not.
Kenny?
It's the backing out, you know, if there was a way to turn it around, fine, but.
I don't think we have the support for it, and it's still ink on paper, so he's gonna have to figure out a more creative way to make it work. Some of your, you know.
And Greg, we like the project. It's not
Yeah.
the project. It's just.
You do?
All right.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I'll give the applicant the feedback.
Yeah, we're happy to work with them, but. Okay, public comments on resolutions.
I will just, the 1309 OCR resolution, there were 3 minor typos. There was a recital that states they are not putting a fire hydrant. There was 2, right now it should read, they are now proposing, so that's located at
Which,
spot.
which,
Number 5. 1309
okay,
OCR.
1509.
Okay, so is it correct in the resolution?
So I'm going to recite it here on page. I'm sorry, so on page 2 of the resolution, number 5 should say is now proposed along Osborne Avenue. And number 6 will read dry wells are now proposed within Osborne Avenue. And then on page 3 of the resolution, it says, oh, no, I apologize. On page 6 of the resolution, the second to last resolved, it says this preliminary approval shall be valid for 36 months. We're going to fix that to say this final approval.
Okay,
So I'll make those and we'll vote on it as amended.
very good.
I don't see the one for Osborne Avenue. Number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine says okay.
Page 2, number 5 says a fire hydrant per fire marshal's request.
Okay.
Comes out. What's that, Craig?
Oh, no, I thought you were questioning the amendments.
Yes, on resolution, you said number 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mine talks.
No, we're talking, this is resolution number
5.
Number 5,
Yeah.
the 1309 OCR
Right.
application.
Okay, but
Page 2 of that resolution.
Yeah, you gotta go to the resolution.
okay.
So we're just fixing 2 typos. Where it says not, we're going to make them now. And then on page 6, instead of saying this preliminary approval, it'll say this final approval.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, no public comments, so let's move into resolutions, gentlemen.
All right, I'll move resolution 2024-46 for Jets 139 LLC Minor Subdivision. To classify an action pursuant to SECRA and schedule a public hearing for the subdivision. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki.
Ed, I have to abstain because it's family oriented, I was told by council.
No problem. Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote yes, the motion carries 4-0-1.
I'll move resolution number 47, which is classified type 2 action in pursuant with SEQA scheduling a public hearing for minor subdivision on Manor Lane.
So moved, and I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Gentlemen, will we vote? Mr. Zilnicki?
Abstain.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Nenaro? Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote aye, so the motion carries 4-0-1.
I move resolution 2024-48, Malice Property Minor Subdivision, resolution classifying an action pursuant to SECRA, assumes lead agency, and issues negative declaration for the minor subdivision. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote aye, the motion carries.
Resolution 2024-049, 1125 Country Road facade improvements. Amended. Resolution granting administrative approval to amend a previously approved site plan.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote aye, the resolution carries.
I'll move 2024-050 as amended.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote yes. Motion carries.
Resolution 2024-051, Seacrest Estates Resolution amending approval of amended final plat for a 14-lot major residential subdivision to reduce yield to 13-lot in the same development footprint.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote yes, the motion carries.
I move resolution number 2024-052, TJOC Real Estate Holdings LLC, resolution classifying action, including a site plan and major subdivision considered as the whole action as a type 1 action pursuant to SECRA. So moved.
Second?
Moved in second. Mr. Zilnicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Nenaro?
Aye.
Mr. Bear?
Yes?
And I vote yes, the motion carries. Okay, public comments on any matter? No?
Just gave me
Okay.
need to cool off.
I'll move the minutes of June 6, 2024. So moved.
Second?
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move the minutes of June 20th, 2024.
Second?
Moved and seconded, may I have a vote, please?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes carried. Other business, staff?
No.
All good? All good. All right, good. Our next meeting date will be August 1st at 6 o'clock. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend.